They were called ghost girls because their skin glowed in the dark. To the public, they were angels. To their families, they were providers. But to their managers, they were something else entirely: disposable assets. The executives knew the truth. They knew the paint wasn't magic. They knew that every time these young women lifted a brush to their lips, they were swallowing a silent assassin. While the girls laughed and painted their nails with liquid sunshine, their bones were being hollowed out. Their jaws were dissolving. They were being turned into radioactive corpses from the inside out. And the worst part? The company didn't just let it happen. They watched it happen. This isn't just a story about a workplace accident. This is the story of one of the coldest, most calculated corporate betrayals in American history, and the women who refused to die quietly. Let's go back to 1917. The world is at war. The boys are in the trenches, and back home in Orange, New Jersey, the factories are humming. For a young working-class girl, there was one job that stood above the rest. It was glamorous, it was patriotic, and it paid 3 times more than the average factory gig. The United States Radium Corporation. They were hiring elite squads of young women for a delicate task: painting the dials of watches. But not just any watches. These were military instruments that needed to glow in the dark for soldiers on the front lines. To do this, they used a revolutionary new substance: radium. At the time, radium wasn't seen as dangerous. It was a miracle cure. It was the AI of the 1920s, the future of everything. People drank radium water to cure arthritis. They bought radium toothpaste to make their teeth shine. It was advertised as the essence of life itself. So getting a job at the studio, it was like winning the lottery. The studio was dusty, but not with dirt. It was filled with a fine, shimmering powder. The girls would leave work covered in it. Their hair sparkled in the twilight. Their dresses glowed in dance halls. One girl famously wore her good dress to work just so it would shine on her date that night. They felt special. They felt magical. They had no idea they were walking into a gas chamber. But there was a catch. The watch dials were tiny, mere millimeters wide. To get the numbers sharp, the girls needed a fine point on their camel hair brushes. The supervisors taught them a specific technique. It was efficient, it was cheap, and it was mandatory. Lip, dip, paint. Put the brush in your mouth to sharpen the tip. Dip it in the radium paste. Paint the dial. Lip, dip, paint. Some of the girls asked, "Is this safe?" They noticed the taste, gritty, a little weird. The managers smiled. "Of course," they said. "Radium will put roses in your cheeks." But here is where the story shifts from tragedy to crime. While the girls were told to swallow the paint, the laboratory scientists, the men mixing the powder, were wearing lead aprons. They handled the radium with long ivory tongs. They knew. The medical literature had already flagged radium as dangerous, but that information was for the elite, for the scientists, not for the disposable workforce on the factory floor. The girls were swallowing hundreds of doses a day. They were literally radioactive, but for 5 years, everything seemed fine. That's the terrifying thing about radiation. It's patient. It doesn't kill you today. It waits. It settles in your calcium. It replaces your bone matter. It builds a home inside you. And then it wakes up. The roses left their cheeks. It started with Amelia Molly Magia. She was young, vibrant, full of life. Then came the toothache. Her dentist pulled her tooth, but the wound didn't heal. It bled, it festered. Then the next tooth began to rot, then the next. Her mouth became a landscape of ulcers. The pain was blinding. When the dentist went to examine her jawbone, he touched it gently and it broke. It didn't just break, it crumbled. He reached into her mouth and lifted out her entire left jawbone with just his fingers. She wasn't the only one. Across the town, other ghost girls were falling apart. Some developed tumors the size of grapefruits on their hips. Others grew shorter as their spines collapsed under their own weight. Their bones were becoming honeycombed. Molly Magia died a horrific death at age 24. Her mouth had essentially disintegrated. She drowned in her own blood. And this is where the United States Radium Corporation made their move. They didn't apologize, they didn't investigate. They looked at Molly's death certificate and they lied. They told the public she died of syphilis. Think about the cruelty of that. In the 1920s, syphilis was a shameful, scandalous disease. By labeling her a fallen woman, they discredited her testimony. They shamed her family. They silenced the victims. It was gaslighting on an industrial scale. The company was in full damage control mode. Arthur Roeder, the president of US Radium, was a man concerned with one thing: liability. He hired experts to investigate the rumors. One expert, Dr. Cecil Drinker from Harvard, visited the plant. He saw the glowing dust. He examined the girls. His report was damning. Every girl is in one condition or another of necrotic poisoning. He sent the report to Roeder. Roeder read it, and then he rewrote it. He sent a modified version to the Department of Labor stating that every girl is in excellent condition. He buried the real report. He threatened the doctors. When other girls tried to find out why they were sick, the company paid local doctors to keep quiet. They paid them to misdiagnose the symptoms as arthritis or nerves, or yes, syphilis. The girls were dying, terrified and broke. They were spending their life savings on cures that didn't work for a disease their bosses swore didn't exist. They were alone. They were rotting alive. And they were up against a corporate giant with unlimited money and political power. Most people would have given up. Most people would have gone home to die in the dark. But Grace Fryer was not most people. To fight back, Grace Fryer decided she wasn't going to die quietly. She wanted the truth. But it wasn't easy. Lawyer after lawyer turned her away. They said the statute of limitations had passed. They said US Radium was too powerful. They said you can't win. Finally, she found a young, ambitious attorney named Raymond Barry. In 1927, 5 of the dying women, dubbed the Radium Girls by the press, filed a lawsuit. The company tried everything to delay, and their strategy was brutal: wait for them to die. They dragged out pretrial hearings. They requested extensions. They knew the girls only had months to live. If the plaintiffs died, the case died. The trial became a media circus. The world was horrified. Here were these young women, too weak to raise their hands to take the oath. Grace Fryer couldn't walk. She had to be carried. Another girl, Quinta McDonald, had to hold her hip together to sit up. They were testifying from the grave. The inventor of the radium paint, Sabin von Sachaki, sat in the courtroom. He watched the women he had poisoned. By a twist of poetic justice, he was dying too. His hands, blackened and necrotic from handling the radium, were hidden in his pockets. The company brought in fake experts. They denied everything, but the visual evidence was undeniable. The judge was moved. The public was outraged. The headlines screamed, "Women doomed to die." US Radium realized they were losing the court of public opinion. The syphilis lie had shattered. The safe mask had slipped. They settled. It wasn't a fortune. $10,000 each and a $600 annual annuity for as long as they lived. But for the company, it was never about the money. It was about the admission. The Radium Girls had forced a titan to its knees. They proved that the company lied. They proved that lip dip paint was a death sentence. Most of the girls died within a few years of the settlement. They didn't get to enjoy the money. They didn't get to grow old. But their revenge wasn't in the cash. It was in the legacy. Because of Grace Fryer, Molly Najia, and the others, the laws changed. The case established the right of individual workers to sue corporations for damages. It paved the way for the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA. Every time you see a hazardous materials sign at work, that's them. Every time a company is forced to provide safety gear, that's them. They paid for our safety with their lives. Decades later, scientists exhumed the body of Molly Mashia to prove once and for all that it wasn't syphilis. When they opened the coffin, they didn't need a Geiger counter. Her corpse was still glowing. The half-life of radium is 1,600 years. These women who were silenced, gaslit, and ignored will literally shine from their graves for another millennium. The company tried to bury the truth, but they forgot one thing about radium. You can't hide it in the dark. It always, always comes to light.